Hey, this is Diano. You're listening to Metal Express, coming at you.
Paul, your new album is a live album, and it contains only old Maiden classics. When and how did you come up with the idea to release such an album?
Well, let's get this straight first of all. When I left Iron Maiden, I have to play a couple of Maiden songs, otherwise the fans tell me to fuck off, basically, or whatever. So what we did was experimenting with songs from the first two albums to see which ones we can put into the show. And we tried things like Women in Uniform, which is god-awful. It just falls to pieces. We only ever played it once live with Maiden as well. So we tried all this stuff, and I record live every night just to hear what it sounds like and stuff like that. So over something like about 15, 20 years, we've got all this material. I was like, well, what the hell do we do with this? And I sold all my songs back to Iron Maiden when I quit too. So it's not for money, obviously. So we just sat there and we thought, oh, well, and I'm sick of it when we're around the world on tour, people coming up, can you sign this bootleg, can you do this? And I'm like, oh, boy. And there's also a lot of fans of maybe Iron Maidens around and of mine who have actually never heard me sing these songs. So we decided to put them together and digitally remaster some of the ones from the 80s and stuff, And we're like, oh, God, this is going to be hard work. We had something like about, it must have been over 2,000 live tapes. And I just sat there and thought, oh, God, and my manager and me sat there and we was going on and on and on. And then I had to go away on tour. And I said, hey, look, I trust you. You do it. And he said, well, I think I've got down to the best. It took about 1.5 years to do this. So that was all worked out. I came back off of tour in South America. I came back to England to listen to the stuff, and I approved it. And, that was it. So it's the end of the chapter. But linking that in with what we're doing, see, I'm playing with Killers again. We haven't played for 6 years or so now, 6, 7 years. We have a different lineup as well at the moment because Steve, my drummer's sick and he has a hearing problem. So we had to replace him and a new bass player. So there's only 3 original members of Killers here. But what we arranged to do, we're writing a new record right now. So while we're writing and before we get the new Killers album out, we've agreed to play around the world to promote this, obviously. So this is what it's going to be tonight. It's mostly old stuff. There's only 2 Killers tracks in there as well from the very first Killers album, like the Murder One album we did. So this is it. So it's all kind of linking in. But next year it'll be a different thing. Just 1 year, and then this will be no more.
But you enjoy doing all Maiden tracks?
I hated it, but this has been fun because I haven't played this many Iron Maiden songs together since I left the band. So I didn't really like to play the Maiden songs in my own shows, but this time having them all together, it's been kind of weird. It's kind of fun in a way, but it's also a nightmare, if you know what I mean.
Some of the recordings are very old, as you say. So there are a lot of different lineups and different bands on this CD, for Battlezone and Killers.
Battlezone, Killers, and a couple of other old friends we've had there. And the first lineup of Killers had John Gallagher in there from Raven, and a guy named Ray DeTone from an American band, Drive She Said, and me, Steve and Cliff as well, which have always been the nucleus of Killers. The other stuff was there. Was like our first lineups of Battlezone when we first came out. There's been some good old shit in there, man. So it's been difficult, especially on the production of the record. So that's why you digitally remaster to get it all to sound of one consistent level. That's been really tough to do because not every show sounds the same every night.
I believe the press ask you a lot of questions about Maiden. Are you? I believe you want to focus on your own solo career. Are you sick and tired of having questions asked about Maiden?
They're always going to be asked. They're always going to ask it. But I wish the press could come up with something a bit more original about the Iron Maiden things, because it's always the same question. Why did you leave? How was your time with Iron Maiden? If my time with Iron Maiden was fucking good, I wouldn't have stayed there, wouldn't I? But no, it was But these questions are going to be asked, so you just have to put up with it. It's one of the things. It's I don't think there's ever going to be a time I can actually go on stage and not play at least one Iron Maiden song. it can become a kind of millstone around your neck, but it can also be cool. I mean, I'm happy in a way. It doesn't bother me too much because, oh, hello, baby. Because the simple fact that I have been successful with like Battlezone and Killers and that, we sold quite a few million records here and there, so it's no big deal. I feel sorry for some of the other guys who left Maiden or have been kicked out, like Dennis and Clive and stuff like that. They haven't sort of done anything. I spoke to Clive just before Christmas. Because when Steve got sick and he couldn't play, before we got Peter in, I was going to see if Clive wanted to come and play this stuff, with us, and that would have been interesting.
Yeah, sure.
But we never had time. He couldn't. I tried to get hold of him, and he got back to me the day before we left on the tour. So I'm like, shit, there's no time to to rehearse it. So
too bad.
Yeah, well, it would have been fun. But maybe I might try and see if Clive wants to play on a couple of tracks on the next solo album I do. So I'll fly him to Brazil. We'll see if he wants to come and play.
Do you remember your very last show with Iron Maiden?
Yeah, I think so. It was Copenhagen. And I tell you why I know it was Copenhagen, because a guy I used to go to school with, he was in the army, and he had left the army the day before, and he met me in Copenhagen for the Iron Maiden show, and then we flew back together. That's how I remember.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
But I think one of them, but the Norway show was the one before, and that was my last two shows. I was like, yeah, very happy.
Did you read the biography, Run to the Hills?
No.
So you were not involved at all. I mean, did Mick Wall come to you and interview
I
you?
think he asked me a few questions here and there, but I was so busy. I was on the road, so I'm like, and there's nothing I can say about Iron Maiden, which hasn't already been said. So can't really contribute in a way. He asked me some questions, but I don't remember what the hell they were. So I'm like, I'm not really interested in any way, shape, or form, because even with my stuff, I don't have any records I've ever made. I have nothing, because I'm like, fuck, it's history, and yesterday don't mean shit really, because I've wrote the songs, I've rehearsed them, I've recorded it, and I've played it all around the world. I'm not going to sit there and listen to my own records at home, like I'm not going to read that book. I have not heard anything by Iron Maiden since Number of the Beast, which I thought was a pretty good album, and then I heard that track, The Wckerman, and I'm like, sounds like Judas Priest. Very bad. So I don't know. I'm not going to comment on Iron Maiden. I have nothing to say. Apart from I had a good time, and it's still a great band. That's the only thing. Well, so they can do what they want. I do what I want. So as contributions to histories of Iron Maiden, I try to keep away from that. And obviously, people, if I don't say anything, then they'll say what they want to say. But I just can't be bothered if I think it's wrong to say anything. I'm like, you think what you think, fuck you. I'll just do what, I don't have to answer to any of it. I'm like, not interested.
If they ask you to come on stage to do some songs from the two first albums, would you consider to do that?
Well, this was actually put to me. The Rock in Rio festival. The unfortunate thing was, Bruce, one of my best friends out there, and he's saying, where is Paul? Is he in Sao Paulo? And they said, well, I don't know, we'll phone. But I was on tour in Europe, so I couldn't make it. But they wanted me to come up and maybe fuck around and do a couple of songs with them and stuff. But that would have been cool. Yeah, I would have done that. That's not a problem. I mean, there's no problem between us, we're friends and stuff. It's just we just don't see each other, because obviously we've been in one part of the world and they live over in the other, and it's always been that way ever since I left. So I spent 20 years in America living there before. So.
Well, after this tour with Killers playing Iron Maiden, you will record another album, as you said.
Yeah,
what will the new Killers album sound like?
We got 4 songs so far.
It's too early to say, maybe.
Yeah, kind of the same. I see. That's the unfortunate thing is that Killers has to stay to the same. We're obviously going to try and make it a little bit different, but I think that's what Killers fans expect, and I can get away with the heavier stuff with my solo stuff. So, yeah, we'd do that. I've got to write a new solo album too at the same time, so I'm trying not to get confused with the two. So I will write the solo album when I go back to Brazil, because I got all Brazilian musicians anyway, so we'll keep it that way. But me and Cliff, it's difficult because he's writing some songs and he's sending them over to me on CD. I'm doing the lyric and the vocal and sending it back. Well, what do you think of this? And we're trading backwards and forwards. But I'm going to have to go back to London for a couple of months and just to get on with it in between touring. So it's going to be difficult, but I think it'll be good. It's difficult to say. It's hard to describe your own music. I mean, I'm going to leave that down to the fans. They might think it sounds like shit. They may love it, but you know, I don't think it's going to be too different. But it will be a little bit if I get my way.
Do you pay much attention to the metal scene right now?
I've been listening to stuff, yeah, but I'm trying not to listen, if you know what I mean, because as I'm writing, I don't want any sort of outside influences coming in and stuff like that. So I'm trying to not listen to that kind of music, you know. It's very difficult because what is original? There's nothing original anymore, I don't think. It's difficult to come up with something. But I'm aware of some of these bands. I like the idea that Papa Roach, that single of theirs, The Last Resort, was a complete rip-off of Genghis Khan by Iron Maiden, and they've wrote a whole new song out of it, which I thought, that's great, I like that. I get pretty upset with looking at Limp Bizkit on TV, because all that fucker does is wear the same clothes I've been wearing for about the last 10 years. I'm really upset about that. Because it pissed me off, because I was in London the other day, and I'm walking down the street, and this stupid girl and her fucking boyfriend said, "Hey, you look like Limp Bizkit." And I'm like, fucking bitch, I was going to kill her. That's kind of weird. Strange. I don't know where that fucking thing came about. Like, oh God, may have to change my image. But I don't see why I should. I had it first. Fucker. Anyway, no. But I quite like the first Limp Bizkit album. It's pretty good. But the only thing I'm really listening to is Linkin Park at the moment. I've been listening to a lot of that. I quite like that stuff. And the last Pantera album, you know, some of that, but that's about it. But I'm basically listening to punk most of the time, because it's music I can enjoy and I've always loved, but it's not going to influence my writing with Killers or even with my solo stuff. So, you know, that's the way it's done.
Any tracks in particular from Iron Maiden that you enjoy doing live?
Yes, I must admit, Prowler.
Yeah.
It was good to do again, because actually I put it in with my solo set too, just to make it interesting. I like doing that. I like doing Sanctuary because we do it the punk style, the way it should have been done, how it was originally written. I actually enjoyed doing Killers as well, believe it or not. That was quite fun. That's about it. I you know, it's good playing all of them, but they're the ones that I really like to do. And there's an extra track we do live on stage, which is not on there, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. It's an old one. It's a slow one. That's it. No more.
Well, I believe it's from one of the two first Maiden albums.
Absolutely. yeah. It's a classic.
Yeah.
But I've never sung it before ever, until I think it was just before Christmas, when we did the first bit of this tour in Belgium, Switzerland, Germany, and Austria. And I remember the first night I played it in the club, and I just turned around and I said, I haven't sung this song for nearly 22 years. And we did it, and I couldn't even remember the words. It was classic.
Listen to the song and
I know it now. But the reason I did, because it never got included on this album, but we do have it live as well, and it came out really good. That's about the only one with caps. I think we've destroyed pretty much all the other live tapes now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't want any more bootleg stuff coming around. So it was quite painful to have them destroyed, but you know, like, because there was also some good shit on there from Battlezone, and you know, and also from Killers as well. There's some really good stuff, but that wasn't the objective. The objective was to get this Maiden stuff out of the way. But obviously, I don't know, it felt weird, you know.
Are you still recording your shows? I mean, you're not recording this tour because this is obviously on a CD, but when you go on tour again with Killers?
When we go back up into the bigger shows and stuff again, yeah. But this is all from the bottom. Actually, these should be the best ones to tape, really. It would be a good idea, because some of the best shows you do are at the small clubs. Yeah. Instead of, like, you know, sort of 2,000-3,000 people and stuff. It's like, see, we've had to come in and start from the bottom again because we've been away so long. So, and this is actually good fun to do this. I like the small clubs; it's great. But the the one we just did, or if on that live thing, you can hear the reaction in Sao Paulo. It's unbelievable. I mean, we're playing like 5 to 15,000 seats a night, and that's from solo. That's from my solo stuff to Sao Paulo show, and it's fucking unbelievable. I can't believe it. But when you hear the solo stuff from Nomad, it's the same reaction, and we have this live album coming from that too. And it's like, oh god. It gets too much, but we'll start recording again soon. I don't think so on this one yet. The guys need to get to know each other, and get it to kick in a bit. This is on the second show with Graham back in the band. Last time we played in Europe was just a 4-piece. I only had one guitar, and then Graham's just come back on this one. Now he had to take some time off. So it's been weird, but we got through it. We done it. It's cool. So
tonight you're playing a quite small club. Later this summer you'll be doing the Wacken Open Air Festival, which is a big festival. But you prefer to do what you're doing tonight?
I like both. I do like both. I mean, you can get away with so much shit on the big ones, though. It's great. But the smaller ones, if you fuck up, the people know it straight away. And then tomorrow we got the Motala Fest tomorrow. Yeah. We're playing that thing as well. That's going to be interesting. But Wacken is great. I mean, we played Wacken before with Killers on the very first one, I think it was, for the first Wacken. It's cool. I played the very first Dynamo too, when it was still in the car park with Battlezone. We just came back from America, and they asked us if we went to headline one night, and we wasn't sure. We thought, we were all too tired because we'd been touring around America for a year. And in the end, we did it. We left with maybe 3 hours to spare, and we got into we got down there and we played. It was fucking funny. In a car park. Oh, it was cool. There's only about 500 people there then.